You hatch from an egg somewhere in the lakes of northern Canada. Your sibling cracks out beside you a few minutes later, and both your parents are sitting on the nest with their bodies pressed low over the two of you. But you can already move, so you push out from under your mother's wing and crawl to the edge of the nest. The nest is built right at the water's edge, so low that the lake is right there in front of you. Your mother slides in first, and your body just follows, tipping off the edge and hitting the water before you've made any real decision about it. That's your first swim. Your legs sit so far back on your body that you can't walk properly on land, but in the water, they work straight away, pushing you forward without you having to figure anything out. Your sibling drops in behind you, and the two of you float close together while both parents circle nearby. Then you need to rest, so you try to pull yourself up onto a low rock at the edge of the water, but your legs can't push you up far enough and you slide back in. You try again, pushing harder with your feet, but your body tips sideways and you roll off the side and back into the lake. Your father moves toward you and turns his body side on, so you grab onto his back and pull yourself up between his wings. That's the spot. But your sibling needs the same thing, so it paddles over and tries to climb on too, with both of you pushing against each other until you slide off the side again. Your father circles back slowly, and this time both of you manage to get up together, pressed side by side between his wings while your mother dives below the surface looking for your first meal. You've been alive for less than an hour, and you've already found the one place on this lake where you're safe. You're a few weeks old now. You've been floating on your own more and climbing onto your parents less, so today, you're ready to try something new. Your mother dives below the surface and comes back up with a small fish held across her beak, and you paddle hard toward her with your wings pushing against the water to get there first. She holds it out, and you grab it, but you grab it from the wrong end, clamping down on the tail instead of the head, so the fish is pointing the wrong way and you can't swallow it. You toss it upward trying to flip it, but it bounces off your beak and nearly sinks before you catch it again. You toss it a second time and it lands the right way, so you tilt your head back and push it down. That's your first proper meal. A little while later, your stomach is full enough that you want to try going after one yourself, so you push your head under the surface and kick hard. But you only make it about a meter down before your body wants to come back up, and you pop out of the water with nothing. You try again, this time kicking harder and angling your body straight down, and you get deep enough to see a small fish moving below you. You push toward it, but it pulls away faster than you can close the gap, so you surface again with your beak empty. Your parents are already diving again on the far side of the lake, going down for long stretches and coming back up with something every time. You can dive, but right now you can't stay under long enough to actually catch anything. Your legs are getting stronger every day, and the dives are getting a little deeper each time. But soon, the lake will start to change around you, and when it does, your parents will go before you're ready. You're around 2 months old now, and you've been diving on your own for a few weeks, catching small fish along the edges of the lake where they're easier to corner. Then one afternoon, a stranger arrives. Another loon drops onto the far end of the lake and starts diving in the same stretch of water your family has been using all season. So your father moves toward it straight away with his neck stretched low and flat across the surface and his body pushing forward fast. The stranger doesn't go back up into the air. Instead, it stretches its own neck out the same way and moves toward your father, with both birds closing the distance between them in a long, fast glide. Then they both rise up out of the water at the same time, with their wings beating hard and their feet running across the surface toward each other, and they crash together in a burst of water with their beaks driving forward. You paddle backward to get out of the way, and your mother moves between you and the fight, keeping her body between you and the two males. The whole thing lasts less than a minute before the stranger pulls away and dives below the surface, and this time it doesn't come back up anywhere near your end of the lake. Your father comes back and starts diving again like nothing happened. But you stay on the surface for a while, watching the spot where the stranger went under. This lake belongs to your parents, and every other loon on the water knows it, but you won't stay here much longer. The season is turning, and soon you'll have to leave this lake and find a way south on your own, toward a part of the world you've never seen. You're around 4 months old now, and your parents left the lake a few weeks ago without circling back. A small group of young loons has been gathering on the water around you, all of you floating and diving in the same area, and then one afternoon, something shifts and your body just needs to go. You need to get south before the lake changes completely, so you start running across the surface with your wings beating hard, and for the first time your body actually lifts up and you're in the air. It doesn't feel natural. Your body is built for the water, so you're heavy in the air and you have to keep your wings working the whole time just to stay up. You fly south for hours with your body low over the trees, following the shape of the land below until the lakes give way to coastline and then open ocean. You drop down and hit the saltwater hard, skidding forward before your body steadies out. Then you need to eat, so you dive straight away. But the fish here move differently to the ones on the lake, and on your first 3 dives, they pull away before your beak gets close. You try coming in from a different angle on the 4th dive, cutting across the path of a fish instead of chasing it from behind, and this time your beak connects. But the ocean is bigger than anything you've been in before, and the other loons out here are older and faster and already know every good fishing spot along the coast. You'll spend the next few years out here before your body tells you it's time to go back inland. And when that happens, you'll need more than just a lake. You'll need one that nobody else has claimed. You're 2 years old now, and you've been working the same stretch of coastline for weeks, diving deep and coming up with fish most times. You're fast enough now that you can chase something down in open water without losing it. So today, you go after a large fish and follow it down past the point where most birds would turn back, driving your legs hard until your beak closes around it. You bring it up and get it down before a gull overhead can start dropping toward you. But a great black-backed gull has already spotted you and lands on the water right next to you, just as another fish surfaces nearby. You go for it, and the gull goes for it at the same time, with both of you reaching it together and the gull clamping down before your beak gets there. You snap forward and grab the other end so it becomes a straight pull, with you driving your feet against the water and the gull beating its wings above. But the gull is heavier than it looks and yanks the fish up and away before you can drag it back down. It lifts off and the fish goes with it, so you dive again straight away, this time going deeper and coming up right under a different fish and driving it toward the surface from below, where it has nowhere to go. You pin it and swallow it fast, with your head tilted back before anything overhead can react. That's how you eat now, fast, from below, and gone before anyone else arrives. You've figured out the coast, but your body has been pulling you in a different direction lately, and soon you'll leave the ocean behind for the first time in years. You're 3 years old now, and after flying inland for 2 days and crossing a chain of smaller lakes, you drop down onto a wide lake ringed with trees that has no other loons on it. You need a territory of your own to breed, so you spend the first day diving the whole length of it, learning where the fish sit and how deep the bottom goes in each section. Then, toward the end of the day, another loon drops onto the far end. She's your age, and she fishes the far side without moving toward you, so you fish your side and watch her. Then she dives near the middle of the lake and comes up close to you, closer than a stranger would, and stays on the surface. You rise up out of the water with your wings spread, and she does the same, both of you facing each other with your chests up and your wings beating, and then you both settle back down together. That's the moment the lake becomes yours. Over the next few days, you build a nest together at the water's edge, pulling reeds and wet grass into a low flat pile just above the waterline, with both of you pressing it down and reshaping it until it holds together. She lays 2 eggs, and you take turns sitting on them, with one of you always on the nest while the other fishes. Everything you do now points back to those 2 eggs. You guard the edges of the lake, dive for food to keep yourself strong, and stay close to the nest whenever you can, and in a few weeks, the eggs will start to move. You're 3 years old, a few weeks into sitting on the nest, and both eggs have hatched. The chicks are already in the water, riding on your back the same way you rode on your father's, and you spend the first days just keeping them up there and fed. Your mate dives while you carry them, then you swap. Then one afternoon, a bald eagle drops from above the trees with its body angled straight toward the nest and its legs already reaching forward. You throw yourself off the water toward it before it gets low enough to grab anything, driving up with your beak pointed forward and your wings pushing hard, and the eagle pulls sideways to avoid you and rises back up. But it circles and comes down a second time, lower and faster, so you drive up again, and your beak strikes its leg as it passes over you, making it pull away sharply. Your mate pushes the chicks under the reeds at the edge of the water, while the eagle climbs again and hangs in the air above the lake. You hold your position on the surface with your wings spread, and after a while it turns and goes back over the trees. Your mate brings the chicks back out, and you check them over, and both are fine. By late summer, the chicks are diving on their own and catching small fish without any help, and then one day they just don't come back to the nest. You and your mate stay on the lake into the early part of the next season, fishing the same stretches you've always used. But you're slower than you used to be, and the deep dives take more out of you than they once did. You don't notice it yet, but it's already starting. You're 11 years old. It's early spring, and you've just come back to the lake after another winter on the coast. You've been back for a few days, and your body is moving through the routines it knows. So this morning you go after a large fish you spot moving along the deep channel you've used for years. You follow it down, kicking hard, driving your beak toward it each time it turns. But the fish keeps going deeper, pulling away just far enough to stay ahead. So you push harder and follow it further down than you've gone in years, trying to close the gap with your legs working at full strength. Then the fish turns sharply and you turn with it, and you realize you've gone too deep. You need to go back up, so you point your body toward the surface and start kicking. But your legs are pushing against more water than they can move fast enough. You kick again, harder, with your whole body driving upward, but the surface doesn't get closer the way it should. Your legs keep pushing, trying to pull you up, but each kick gives you a little less than the one before. Then your legs stop. Your body hangs still in the water with your beak pointed up and your wings loose at your sides. The fish you were chasing drifts up through the water above you and disappears. You don't move again. You've spent 11 years on this lake, and you go the same way you lived, chasing something down.